After Pope Francis died, viewership of the film Conclave skyrocketed. So I'm here to take you behind the scenes, to watch a few clips together, and to separate fact from fiction. So what we're seeing here is the removal of the Pope's ring, which is called the fisherman's ring or the ring of the fisherman. And that has on the top of it the seal of the Pope with his name on it in Latin. And so because the Pope has now died, in order to prevent any fraudulent documents being promulgated under his name, his ring is removed and it is destroyed in one way or another. So what we see in this scene is that they take off the top metal plate that has the papal seal and his name on it. Other ways they can do this is kind of like chipping an X into the top so that the seal no longer appears correctly, or by just kind of taking a hammer to the ring entirely.
Sede vacante.
The seat of Peter is vacant. The screen goes black and we see the text 3 weeks later, the eve of the conclave. And that's one of the interesting things that the film gets a little bit wrong, because according to church law, the conclave is supposed to start between 15 and 20 days after the Pope has died, but the film sets it 22 days later, so a little bit later than it should have actually happened.
Before we eat, I'd like to introduce a new member of our order whose existence was not known to any of us until only a few hours ago.
So a lot of people have been asking if this procedure in pectore is legit, and it is. It's rooted in canon law and goes back about 500 years, and it's a process by which a pope can name someone a cardinal, but not actually tell anyone other than that new cardinal himself. And this might be done usually for reasons of safety, or if it would in some other way kind of provoke the civil authorities in that region. Now, this is unfortunately where conclave is most inaccurate. According to church law, cardinals who are made in pectore do not have the right to participate in a conclave unless their name was made public by the Pope before he died. And that's not what we have in this scene here. What we have is a cardinal legitimately made in pectore, but no one else knew about it until after the Pope's death. One of the other great things about this scene is that when Benitez offers this prayer over the meals, he recognizes the women, the religious sisters who have done all this work for them. And that's one of the other places where conclave is really spot on too. The place where all the cardinals stay is called Casa Santa Marta. It's where Pope Francis actually lived throughout his whole papacy, and it is staffed by women religious. And so they're behind the scenes doing all the work of housekeeping and feeding these cardinals day in and day out for as long as the conclave lasts. And so Benitez actually recognizes their contributions to the whole conclave process here.
Extra omnes.
So at this point, the master of ceremonies has to leave, everyone else has to leave except those cardinal electors, because the conclave and the election process is supposed to be done under complete secrecy. So we also have scenes here of the windows being closed in the Sistine Chapel, they're being boarded up. In an earlier scene, we saw a new flooring put in so that jammers could be installed so that no electronic communications can get in or out of the Sistine Chapel. They are literally locked in. This is where we get the word conclave from, with a key, under a key. This is all spot on too. The Dean of the College of Cardinals, Cardinal Lawrence here, is responsible for overseeing the election process. So he's instructed the cardinals the procedure for actually doing the voting. They'll have a small card. On the top is written in Latin, "I elect as Supreme Pontiff." And then here's where the film gets a small thing a little bit wrong. In the film, they fold their ballots in half and then bring those up. The church document that governs this whole process specifies in multiple places that the ballot is supposed to be folded twice. And the reason for that is so it's easier to tell if a cardinal has put two ballots together to try to vote twice in the same ballot. If you just have a ballot folded once, you could have multiple ballots stacking together in the urn that they're placed in, but if you fold it twice, it's easier to tell if someone cast two votes. The burning of the ballots and the smoke. This is also entirely accurate to how this process unfolds. To be elected Pope, someone needs to attain a 2/3 majority. So whether or not any given ballot results in having a candidate elected or not, all of those ballots are burned. They're placed in a stove that is specifically installed for this purpose, with a chimney going up through the Sistine Chapel out to the outside world. And the reason for the smoke is because, again, remember, the cardinals are sequestered. There's no way of telling the outside world if they've had a valid election, and so the way that they do that is with the smoke. If the voting was inconclusive, they put a chemical in there so that it's black smoke. So black smoke means no pope. But when they do have a valid election, they reach a 2/3 majority, and that man has said, yes, I accept my election, then they burn the ballots with white smoke. That's a wrap on watching some of these film clips here. So if you want to check some live feeds with a camera kind of set at the chimney of the Sistine Chapel, you'll be looking for smoke around maybe noon or so Rome time, and then around 6 or 7 or so Rome time. And that will go on until the cardinals reach a 2/3 majority, and we will have a new pope. In Latin, Habemus Papam.